Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Several of Donald Trump's cabinet and administration picks targeted with bomb threats and swatting. Mexican president discusses migration and drug trafficking with Donald Trump hours after warning retaliation over his tariff threats. Thousands return home in Lebanon as ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah takes hold. UN terms ceasefire first ray of hope amid darkness. India expresses deep concern on arrest of priest Chinmoy Krishnadas and violence against Hindus in Bangladesh. Protests by various groups continue in Kolkata. And in sports, Liverpool regained top spot in the Champions League table, register first victory over Real Madrid in 15 years with a dominant 2-0 win. To the top story this hour, President-elect Donald Trump's incoming cabinet members and other political appointees have been targeted with bomb threats. Spokesperson for the U.S. President-elect Caroline Leavitt said in a statement that threats were made on Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, and law enforcement acted quickly to ensure the safety of those targeted. Elise Stefanik, a U.S. representative from New York and Trump's pick to serve as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, said in a statement on Wednesday that her family home had been the target of a bomb threat. Later on Wednesday, Lee Zeldin, a former U.S. representative from New York and Trump's choice to head the Environmental Protection Agency, said he and his family had been targeted. An FBI spokesperson said the Bureau is aware of numerous bomb threats and swatting incidents targeting incoming administration nominees and appointees and is working with its law enforcement partners. The White House said outgoing President Joe Biden has been briefed on the threats. And updates on West Asia conflict now. Thousands of Lebanese displaced by the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah returned home on Wednesday as a ceasefire took hold, driving cars stacked with personal belongings and defying warnings from Lebanese and Israeli troops to stay away from some areas. The truce in Lebanon could give reprieve to the 1.2 million Lebanese displaced by the conflict and the tens of thousands of Israelis who fled their homes along the border. Well, the Israeli army has meanwhile announced restrictions on Wednesday on people's movement in South Lebanon after dark. Israeli army spokesperson Daniel Hagari advised Lebanese civilians to stay away from the area where the Israeli forces are stationed.
Residents of Lebanon, as you have seen throughout the war, we do what we say. For your protection, we ask you to stay away from the area where our forces are. The ceasefire agreement is phased, and we will let you know when it is safe to return to the area.
Well, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres termed the truce between Israel and Hezbollah the first ray of hope in the regional conflict after months of escalation. Talking to media in Portugal, the UN chief said it is essential that those who signed the ceasefire commitment respect it in full. He also reiterated his call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza.
I would say the first ray of hope regarding the peace I received amidst the darkness of the last few months. I received it in Portugal, and it was the agreement to ceasefire in relation to Lebanon, and a moment of great importance, especially for civilians. And at the same time, I can assure you that UNIFIL, the United Nations peacekeeping force, which has been in Lebanon, is currently prepared to make its contribution to verifying this ceasefire with full commitment.
Well, a day after a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hezbollah was announced, the group has vowed to continue its resistance and support Palestinians, including fighters. In the first statement by Hezbollah's operations center since the deal was announced, the group made no direct mention of the ceasefire deal. The deal brokered by the US and France ended the deadliest confrontation between Israel and Hezbollah in years. Israel is still fighting Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Also, Israel will appeal against the International Criminal Court's arrest warrants for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Israel's Prime Minister's office in a statement said it had informed the ICC of its intention to appeal to the court along with a demand to delay implementation of the arrest warrants. Well, the ICC issued arrest warrants last Thursday for Netanyahu, his former defense chief, and Hamas military leader Ibrahim al-Masri for alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity in the Gaza conflict. Also, ICC spokesperson Fadil Abdullah meanwhile told journalists that if request for an appeal was submitted, it would be up to the judges to decide. The court's rules allow for the UN Security Council to adopt a resolution that would pause or defer an investigation or a prosecution for a year, with the possibility of renewing that annually. And US President-elect Donald Trump said on Wednesday that Mexico's leader had agreed to stop migration during a conversation between the pair, effectively closing the border between their countries. Earlier, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said she had an excellent conversation with Trump. Writing on social media, Sheinbaum said both sides addressed Mexico's strategy regarding the migration phenomenon, and she shared that caravans are no longer reaching the northern border as they're being addressed within the Mexico. The update from Mexican president comes after Trump jolted trade relations with Mexico by saying earlier this week that he would impose a 25% tariff on all goods from the country unless Mexican authorities stopped migrants and drugs such as fentanyl from coming across the border. The move raised concerns over the potential impact on Mexico's economy, which relies on trade with the United States. Meanwhile, Trump has tapped Keith Kellogg, a retired lieutenant general who has presented him with a plan to end the conflict in Ukraine, to serve a special envoy for the conflict on Wednesday. Kellogg will likely play a central role in attempting to resolve the conflict in its new position. He was the chief of staff for the White House National Security Council during Trump's 2017 to 2021 term and national security advisor to then Vice President Mike Pence. Although currently there is no special envoy for the Ukraine conflict, Trump had previously shown interest in establishing the role. Keith has led a distinguished military and business career, including serving in highly sensitive national security roles in Trump's administration. While Russia's deputy UN ambassador Dmitry Polyansky said any decision by Trump's incoming administration to cut support for Ukraine would be a death sentence for the Ukrainian army on Wednesday. Speaking to the UN Security Council, Polyansky accused the outgoing Biden administration of trying through its increased support to Ukraine to create a mess both in Russia and with the new team in the White House, and said that Zelensky was terrified of the return of Trump. He added Russia had repeatedly offered to negotiate, but Ukraine have favored escalation.
The likelihood of who's coming to power is something which Zelensky tried very hard to ignore. He even violated diplomatic niceties. And even if we are to lay to one side the prediction that Donald Trump will cut assistance to Ukraine, which for the Ukrainian army would essentially be a death sentence, it is becoming clearer that he and his team will in any case conduct an audit of the assistance provided to Kiev. And the outgoing American administration is actively egging it on in doing this, and it's trying as much as it can to make a mess both in Russia and with the new team in the White House.
И новой команде в Белом доме.
Well, Nordic and Baltic states and Poland on Wednesday said that they would step up support for Ukraine in the coming months, including the country's defense industry, and invest in making more ammunition available. The leaders held a meeting at the Swedish government's country retreat in Stockholm for talks covering transatlantic relations, regional security cooperation, and a common policy in the conflict in Ukraine.
Our nations are already the largest per capita contributors of military assistance to Ukraine. We will enhance our efforts, including to defense industrial production in Ukraine, and invest to increase Ukraine's ammunition supplies. We strengthen Ukraine's energy infrastructure to help them through the winter, and we support them on their path to EU and to NATO. All of us have made historic investments in the strengthening of our armed forces, and we all agree to prioritize defense spendings. Adding money beyond NATO's 2% default will be needed.
Well, Bangladesh has plunged into an unprecedented turmoil. At least 6 people have been arrested and 21 detained in the case involving the death of an advocate during clashes following the arrest of Hindu monk Chinmoy Krishnadas Brahmachari. Meanwhile, India-based think tank Risks and Right Analysis Group has gone after Yunus government by filing a complaint with the UN Working Group on what they call the arbitrary detention of Das by Bangladesh government. Here's more in this report.
The visuals on your screen are of massive protests in Bangladesh that follow the arrest of the Hindu leader Chinmoy Krishnadas Brahmachari. He was arrested on Monday on sedition charges and denied bail on Tuesday. Bangladesh's High Court on Wednesday asked the government to inform the court about the stance that it took regarding Hindu religious organization ISKCON, its activities, and what steps it has taken about it. The court also passed the order after hearing a writ petition seeking a ban on ISKCON and issuance of Section 144 in Chattogram and Rangpur to ward off any unwanted incident. The court ordered Attorney General Asaduzzaman to apprise them of the government's stance over the issue by Thursday, reports United News of Bangladesh. The Chittagong police have arrested at least 6 people suspected to be involved in the death of the advocate Saiful Islam during clashes, while police attempted to transport Sanatan Jagran Manch spokesperson Chinmoy Prabhu to jail. According to official sources, the police have detained another 21 persons for their alleged involvement in the vandalism and carrying out of attacks on the law enforcement members during the clash on Tuesday in Chittagong court premises. ISKCON Pundrik Dham's Chinmoy Krishnadas and Bangladesh Samilit Sanatan Jagran Jyoth have been advocating on behalf of the Hindu community across Bangladesh, raising 8-point demands for the safety and rights of minorities. Chinmoy Prabhu was arrested by the Dhaka police on Monday from Dhaka airport while he reached there to catch a flight for Chittagong. India's ruling Bharatiya Janata Party leaders and workers, led by West Bengal leader of opposition Suvendu Adhikari, held a protest march to the Bangladesh consulate in Kolkata on Wednesday. In New Delhi, Union Minister Giriraj Singh said that attacks on Hindus in Bangladesh reflects that the interim government of that country is in the clutches of fundamentalists and sought the intervention of the United Nations in the matter.
अब समय आ गया है कि अब संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघ को भी इस पर संज्ञान में लेना चाहिए.
India's Ministry of External Affairs on Tuesday expressed deep concern over Chinmoy Krishnadas's arrest and denial of bail. New Delhi said that it's unfortunate that perpetrators of these incidents remain at large, while a religious leader is pressed with charges. Amid widespread violence and social unrest, the Rights and Risks Analysis Group on Wednesday filed a complaint with the UN Working Group against illegal and arbitrary detention of Chinmoy Krishnadas Brahmachari. The harassment of media personnel is also on the rise in Bangladesh. The Newspaper Owners Association of Bangladesh has expressed its serious concern over frequent attacks on the freedom of the media in the country. Committee to Protect Journalists, a US-based global media rights body, also called for a swift investigation into the threats of violence against leading dailies of Bangladesh, the Daily Star and Protham Alo, which were threatened in recent days. With Naval Singh Parmar in Dhaka, Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, millions of Americans are set to crowd into airport or hit the road on Wednesday ahead of Thanksgiving Day, which is shaping up to be one of the busiest travel days of the year. On Tuesday, about 2.7 million passengers were screened at airport security checkpoints, the highest ever for a Tuesday before Thanksgiving and beating last year's record. The travel industry expects even more travelers on Wednesday and Sunday, December 1st. A record 80 million Americans are expected to travel at least 50 miles for Thanksgiving, according to industry group AAA. And some news from around the world now. French farmers have escalated their protest against the EU-Mercosur free trade agreement by dumping piles of manure outside the Departmental Directorate of Territories office in downtown Tours. The symbolic act reflects their mounting frustration and demands for government intervention as farmers across the country voice concerns over the potential for unfair competition from South American imports. As rising temperatures threaten to halve potato yields in China, scientists are racing to develop climate-proof potato varieties that can withstand extreme heat. Potatoes, a vital staple crop in China, are highly sensitive to temperature fluctuations, particularly during key growth stages like tuber formation and flowering. With climate change accelerating, the country is facing the risk of significant food insecurity unless adaptive measures are taken. In a heartwarming and emotional turn of events, elephant in Pakistan reunited with her sisters after 15 years after being relocated from Elephant Madhubala Zoo to Pakistan Safari Park. Madhubala and her sisters were originally captured from the wild when they were very young and due to the separation lived under very different conditions for many years. For years, advocates for animal welfare had called for the sisters to be reunited, recognizing the emotional toll that long-term separation had likely taken on them. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. JMM leader Hemant Soren to take oath as Jharkhand Chief Minister for the fourth term. Fire and Emergency Services in Odisha is exhibiting firefighting and modern rescue equipments. And in sports, India's hockey team thrashed Thailand by a massive 11-0 in its opening match of Men's Junior Asia Cup in Muscat.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha leader Hemant Soren will be sworn in as the 14th Chief Minister of the state of Jharkhand on Thursday. Governor Santosh Kumar Gangwar will administer the oath of office and secrecy to Soren. This will be the Soren's fourth stint as Chief Minister. He retained the Barhet seat in the recently held assembly polls, while JMM said only Hemant will take oath from the party on Thursday. Congress and RJD did not divulge their picks. In the recent assembly election, Soren's JMM-led alliance secured 56 seats in the 81-member assembly. Elected MLAs in the incoming 6th Jharkhand Assembly, incumbent Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha MPs of the state have also been invited to attend the function. And Bharat National Cyber Security Exercise is playing a critical role in strengthening India's cyber defences. The platform brings together stakeholders from the government and industry. Through brainstorming sessions, practical exposure and simulated scenarios, Bharat NCX is shaping the future of India's cyber strategy. DD India correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh reports for more.
Some of the finest minds and thought.
The Bharat National Cyber Security Exercise is underway in New Delhi from 18th to 29th November with an aim to equip critical sector organizations with skills to tackle modern cyber threats. Wednesday witnessed two important launches, National Cyber Reference Framework and National Cyber Range 1.0. NCRF provides a structured approach to cybersecurity governance, and NCR 1.0 is a cutting-edge facility for cybersecurity research training.
To tell you very frankly, cybersecurity is something which cannot be seen in isolation. And the Honorable Prime Minister has mentioned previously, it is no longer cybersecurity, it is national security. It is not only restricted to cyber. Cyber is a part of each one of our day-to-day life. Be it an aspirant who is selling vegetables, or be it somebody who is at the apex level or at the apex corporate level. Cyber affects each one of us. And a loss or a cyber attack on anyone is felt as bad. So that is why it is very important for us to be, firstly, be cyber aware, ensure cyber hygiene, and have a workforce which is totally cyber security trained.
The hands-on training sessions at Bharat NCX 2024 provides participants with practical exposure through simulated scenarios, enabling them to enhance their proficiency in cyber incident response and resilience-building techniques.
The significance of the National Cybersecurity Conclave is that it represents a quantum leap forward in terms of thought process, in terms of the commitment of the government towards more inclusive approach and towards recognizing the fact that the private sector can play a very important role. That's the reason why today we are having the CISO Conclave, where we are having CISOs not just from various tech sectors within the government, but from the private sector. Today, a critical information infrastructure, a big chunk of this is already in private hands. So this kind of a national conclave becomes a melting pot.
Meanwhile, Bharat Cyber Security Startup Exhibition at the venue showcased innovative solutions from India's leading innovators. Bharat NCX 2024 is organized by National Security Council Secretariat in collaboration with Rashtriya Raksha University. India is ranked among top 5 countries most affected by cybercrime in the world. Initiatives like National Cyber Security Exercise aims to ensure that India's cyber defense remains robust and future-ready. With camera person Anand Kashyap, Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India, New Delhi.
And the International Film Festival of India 2024 concludes today, bringing the 9-day celebration of cinematic excellence to an end for this year. It started with a bang and was filled with memorable film premieres and panel discussions. Numerous celebrities from Bollywood and Hollywood made their presence felt. And if you feel that the starry presence at FE this year is over, you were mistaken, as the closing ceremony today will also be a star-studded affair. In all, FE has been a platform for fostering deeper understanding and appreciation of films. It provided a single platform for ambitious filmmakers, cineasts and industry professionals to have access to excellent cinema from across the world. And on to some sports news now. Liverpool regained a top spot in the Champions League table and registered a first victory over Real Madrid in 15 years with a dominant 2-0 with courtesy of goals from Alexis Mac Allister and Cody Gakpo. It was a miserable night for the Spaniards, who now 24th in the 36-team competition. Kylian Mbappe was well shackled and also missed a penalty that would have drawn Real level against the run of play in the second half. The result continued was Arne Slot's scintillating start at Liverpool, who as well as their 100% Champions League record also sit top of the Premier League by 8 points. Liverpool had not beaten Real Madrid since 2009, failing to win any of the previous 8 matches, including 2 painful Champions League final defeats. And India's hockey team thrashed Thailand by a massive 11-0 in its opening match of Men's Junior Asia Cup in Muscat on Wednesday. Arijit Singh, Saurabh Anand and Gurjot Singh scored a brace, while Arshdeep Singh, Sharda Nand Tiwari, Dilraj Singh, Rohit and Vikesh Tobo scored 1 goal each to secure comprehensive victory. India maintained control over the ball from the start and quickly found the back of the net. They dominated the proceedings throughout the match, frequently foraying into the shooting circle to score a flurry of goals. India will face Japan in their second match on Friday. And India's D. Gukesh made a strong comeback in the third game-of-5 World Chess Championship in Singapore on Wednesday. Gukesh handed defending champion Ding Liren his first defeat in the championship after 37 moves. The world's youngest challenger has drawn level with Liren on 1.5 points each. Liren had won the first game while second ended in a draw. The fourth round will start on Friday after a rest day. The championship consists of 14 games. The first player to score 7.5 points will be crowned the world champion. If the match ends in a tie after 14 games, a tiebreaker will be held on the following day to determine the winner. And Fire and Emergency Services of Eastern State of Odisha has organized a firefighting and modern rescue equipment exhibition. The exhibition displays new and advanced technologies that can be used during an emergency. The department also showcased 10 dogs recruited to help search and locate victims stuck under debris during the earthquakes. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world in the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. Well, we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.